like midweights versus heavies versus lights, different combos tend to work on them and stuff like that. Do I have any funky settings? Don't want counter hit. Don't get stunned. We're gonna do, I guess, random. I think this is from when I was practicing IEDDP, so that's probably why. I guess this is fine. So, general combo theory. Especially when you're first starting out, like, the way the Gatlings work is you have, like 5k, close S. I think my first block string ever was, like, 5k, close S, 5H, 2H, 2D, and then it was just like, if they block that, it's like, what do I do? But the, like, very basic combos work very similarly. It's just like, when you're at the very beginning, when you're first starting out, something as simple as, like, this is fine. You get a card, you get some damage. It's like what? 134? That's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. I mean, you started with 5k, you get a little less, I think? Yeah. 104. So, I mean, you want your combo, like, your ideal. If it's like a punish, you want it to start with close S, or, which I think is like the best starter, or like 6k. That's like pretty good. But, you know, sometimes you get a hit off of like random 5k and it's just like convert. This is like the very beginning. It's like basic Gatlings, K to P to, or K to S to H to D or whatever. Eventually you start to get more complicated stuff like, oh, and that'll whiff. Or like the combo that we tend to say is like closer to optimal now is like something like close S5, close S5H, 6k, 6H, and then you actually get like, in most cases you get a max charge out of that because that'd be too far to like really punish you for it. But obviously there's different things to different enders. Like obviously you do a 2D combo, end it in sweep, you get a charge, and they can't like I think you can get, and then you see the whiff 5k. You can start doing like Oki like that. It's just meaties, the most basic Oki. So for what it's worth, I still think out of all the enders, my favorite is still probably 2D. In terms of like when you have no cards and you need like damage or you need whatever else. 2D is very reliable. You get like TP, cross up TP Oki, and then you do like junk. Oh my god, I can't hit this today. For some reason I can't hit the puff puff follow up. Like mistiming it. It's because I've been playing a little bit of Uni maybe. It's the first time I touched Guilty Gear in a little bit. But so, you know, combos ending in 2D, you got like a charge card, and then you got Oki, whatever you decide your media Oki can be. There's a lot of things you can do for Oki. I'm probably going to start talking about that like way later. That's I think the last thing on my list. But, do something like 2D, then you have Oki, the meaty. Nice, there it is. The other ender besides 2D, there's like 3 really popular enders. First one's 2D and 46PP. I'm going into this tutorial assuming you know like a good amount of stuff about Jam, like specials and, you know, supers and all this other stuff. So basically, the 3 enders is like 2D, which gives you a card, and like usually mediocre. And then the other thing you can do is either, I just did it off of 2H, but you can do like 2D, 46PP. Some people tend to do that, especially when they're first starting out. Mid-screen, I feel like this isn't that great because like usually when I do this, what I tend to do is either RC and charge a card, or like, you know, you're blowing them back pretty far. Oops. So you can kind of like push them away, charge a card, and then they run at you, if anything. Like if they're paying attention and they know like, oh, he just 4-6 PP'd me, he's charging a card, I'm gonna run up on him, he's charging a card. You can like YRC the card, or, you know, so charging a card, they run up, you YRC, and you can do like a meaty to fake them out, or you can do lots of things off of that. Personally, I'm not a big fan of 4-6 PP enders mid-screen, especially if I don't have any charge cards stocked, because Because I think what it tends to become is like, what I'll end up doing is, oops. It's like jump and try to get a safe jump or do whatever else mid-screen. It's kind of unreliable because it's not like in the corner here. Like in the corner, 4-6 PP ender is great. Get like 4-6 PP. I usually do it at the end of like an air juggle, and then you get jump, and that's a safe jump. So you beta DP or whatever else. So in the corner, 4-6 PP is perfectly good. Or like sometimes you'll have corner combos where like do like, what is it? I think on Kai it's just close us. Do this, puff puff, and you get a 4-6 PP ender. So they drop, you get a safe jump. In those cases, 4-6 PP, great ender. You have a charge card, you have meter, you have whatever else, you have resources. 4-6 PP gives you a safe jump, which is like, I think, in my opinion, some of Jam's strongest Oki, because it gives her the ability to deal with like people mashing DP or it sets up this whole other situation. When you safe jump people enough, they start doing funny things like blitz on wake up, which like when you start blitzing on wake up, you just land 5k, and then they're getting hit with a counter 5k or something like that, or you land throw, and Jam has some of like the best like off of all this throw stuff, you can like get a charge card, and now with the way that it is in Rev, on mids and heavyweights, you get a charge card and you combo into 4-6 PK, you just gained a card basically for 50 meter and damage. So it's super good. Grabs are good, Jam. But one thing that just to mention, we have documents in the Jam Discord about all this like PK stuff off of common starters like throw, get PK off of, where is it? Got counter hit. Got PK off of that. Oh, I don't know if that works actually. I think it does. I'm pretty sure it does. I think I was just too far the first time. Yeah, it does. Sick. So you can get PK off of a lot of situations. Throw is one of them. There's lots of random stuff in the Jam doc. Like, you should be able to do it off a counter hit. Yeah, that works too. Like I said, I'm gonna shill for the Jam Discord for a second. The link is on the Reddit Discord, and if you just search like Guilty Gear character Discords, yeah, counter hit puff, like I feel like it's super inconsistent. Some of them work, some of them don't. Especially like the lightweights, I don't think you can ever do it off a counter hit puff. But like I was saying, we have links to the Jam Discord. Sway actually, shoutouts to Sway who's in the chat, has he made a document on how to PK a lot of the cast with different setups and like real. Oh, what's up, Faulty? Getting PK, which is like a staple of her damage and her what makes Jam really scary. Getting PK combos. So we made a document about how to do that off of different starters like ID Gekiden or counter hits and other junk. And super helpful. So shoutouts to Sway. So back to like the different enders. 4-6 PP ender gives you safe jumps and stuff like that. I guess in the corner is better to show. You get like safe jumps and there are like different timings and different things you need to do to get the safe jump, but Jam safe jumps are pretty decent. And then the other ender that becomes more common with like this PK nonsense on the midweights, so you get puff puff, and like that as an ender. In a lot of cases you can do like max charge. It gets a little more risky when you're comboing them into the corner, because they tend to have the ability to wake up and like smack you, but you get at least a charge out of it. Puff Puff ender is good as well. What Doran tends to do quite a bit is he'll end a combo in Puff Puff and then generally charge a max card if he's far enough away, and that's definitely, I think, a good idea. What I tend to do, which is completely unnecessary and kind of garbage, is do like Puff Puff, and then I'll run up, do 4-6 PK. Whoa, why did that not work? Ah! Buff Ender, 4-6P, charge card, max charge, and then it's not exactly a safe jump most of the time, but you're like above them. You can try to bait DPs with FD. You can max charge and then just like run up and do a meaty a lot of the time, or other things like that. That tends to be less safe, but that's like other things you can do. What's up, Amma? Faulty, how do I kill Doran besides fly away? Get him to throw a Ryujin and then kill him for it. Shinsen plays answer, and like when he does play answer against me, yeah, I'm gonna notice the Kai color. It's a Kizzer color. Shoutouts to Kizzer. Don't tell anybody. Nobody tell Kizzer that I'm using his color to fight or to beat up. But I think just like Faulty, just like making your movement really good with scrolls. Like that's one thing I like about Shinsen's movement, is that he like tends to have a lot of scrolls on the screen against me, and like he'll be moving around fast enough that I can't really catch him that well. And when I do, it's with like counter hit JS or something, which unless I have a card, it's like not that much damage. That's like 120, 130. If I have a card, you can like kill him, but that aside. So back to combo theory and combo complexity. I think when you first start out, it's okay to do stuff that's very simple until you get the hang of it, and using her normals. Like I was saying before, when you're starting out, 2D Ender is fine. You get a card, you get charge, or you get card charge, and you get mediocre, and you can do all kinds of stuff off of that. You could go a whole round and just do 2D knockdowns the whole time. Eventually, you'll have like one of each card, or like two of each card, and you'll do some sick nasty combos, or you have IDDP to mess with. Oh, it's too far. So I think at first using 2D and 4-6P knockdowns is fine, especially when you do juggles that involve your opponent ending up in the air, kind of like with those 4-6PP combos or 4-6PK combos. When they end up in the air, this is where I almost always use 4-6PP as an ender. You can do other stuff like extend it with like, all kinds of juggles. Depending on what card you have, you might want to choose a different ender, but I tend to take 4-6PP ender most of the time, unless it's like I need a certain amount of damage to kill them. Because it does give you a safe jump, and if you have the resources, that's, I think, a really good thing. But eventually, I think the combo that we've said is optimal, if not very close to optimal, as like a basic punish with no meter and no cards, is something like, was it close S, 6k, close S, 5h, 6k, 6h, charge a card, charge a max if you're far enough, and then just get all kinds of silly stuff. So eventually that's not a bad thing to... The thing is, it does kind of play on reverse gatlings and stuff like that, which as a quality is like a thing that Jam has access to, but getting used to it at first is very difficult, which is, I think, part of the reason why people have difficulty with block strings. Like, a lot of the best block strings are super involved with reverse gatlings and things like that. At the very, very beginning, and this is something that I think is worth mentioning, because this is kind of how I feel like it starts out, and I've seen Doran do this too. It's like when you go through and you're fighting somebody and you miss every single 4-6 PK, and like you just can't get it, you're just like, oh, what normal is supposed to use, stuff like that. When you do a throw RC combo, if you want to do that stuff, and you get a charge card, you can just do the basic like jump cancel, whatever. Any jump cancelable normal, like, oh my god, I think that works. Close as far as whatever combo. I actually don't. Oh my god, I like never do these. So some like, I don't know, 5k close slash, JC. Yeah, Doran doesn't know how to do PKs, so he does jump cancel combos. That is true though. Sway's right. Like if you miss PK in a situation where you really need to kill him, yeah, like Coom techs and JHs you and you just die, which I suppose is like better. So yeah, if you're ever in a situation where you've missed like 3 PKs in a row or something, you just don't know what it is, you like memorize the setups and you have no idea, it's always good to stick with like, that's like a super basic one. You can do fancier stuff. What's it? Do like SPS or something. Something like that. And depending on the character, you'll get different enders. Lights will be like harder to get Ryujin consistently on. And actually that's another thing that gets asked pretty often is like timing on like regular throw follow-up. So like yeah, see, I fucked it up too. Basic stuff like JS, JH is like what people tend to do, but on like what is it? On midweights, they actually drop a little farther. So you can do, I think you can get region. Yeah, something like that. You can actually get region on them. Lights though will be like way too high up, so you gotta just try to do like, they'll end up like all the way up here. So you just do like JS, and then that jump back JS the second time. Do JS, JC, JS, JH, 3 kicks on all mids. Yeah, on all mids, yeah. On lights, the other thing I tend to do is like, especially, if I have like max Geki, and this is super whack, but I'll do like 2D336SK. I think a charge region. I have like any kind of Gekketing charge, and I have a region. If I have a charge region, my first combo is always just like, oh, what the fuck? Why does that whip? Am I doing too fast? You know what? Super Jump JD is real good, is all I want to say. Because on lights, it's easier to do just like a Super Jump JD or sometimes even a regular JD. Because JD, I think, is the only thing you can do before, like, any normal into Gekketing will whiff whenever you do it. But if you do JD, yeah, so you can't do like raw Gekketing, they'll always tick out. If you do JD, you can actually end it in a Gekketing. So if you have a Gekketing charge and nothing else, but you can do JS Gekketing. Really? There's no way. Oh, that works? That's so sick. I learned something today. So you could do like SPS Gekketing. Sick! That looks super weird. So I guess JS and JD. But if you have a Gekketing, the only reason I mention that is for lights, because on lights, what am I doing? Normally the like all-purpose combo that I use is something like throw JS, JS, JH, and then DP and Gekketing. Unless you have a charge Ryujin, you can like do those, and I think most people tend to have a Gekketing stocked most of the time just for knockdowns. There's a thing where you can OS it with jump back JH or something, but like there's lots of footage of me messing that OS up and just getting bursted on my JH. Shoutouts to Hamad at C Otaku. think that was like game 1, round 2 or something. Tried to OS the burst and I got bursted out and I was just like so JS, jump back JH into DP and stuff like that. It's an OS. Grab people's bursts that way. I don't think I'm just timing it badly because I kind of gave up on the OS. Yeah, something like that. So that's like the higher, or like the end game of your confirms. When you're first starting out though, this will consistently work on most of the casts, so you should use it. Just throw JS, JH, DP, Gekiden, and that's like a basic combo that if you have a Gekiden card, if you have a DP card, that'll work. If you have a DP card, you just end it in DP and you gotta knock down. DP knockdown's kinda ass, but whatever. So you start out with those kind of combos, eventually work into the OS or into stuff like, you know, throw, JD, whatever. If you have, if you have a stocked max kicky, you get Puff Puff, you get like corner carry and a billion damage and all this other junk. So it's worth noting that JD and like Doran said, JS will combo into Gekiden. So I guess I should switch to show like what some of the garbage about lights is. Do like, where's Milia? There she is. Do some light combos, and then maybe show the Bedman and Pot combo and the stupid whatever else combos. So, oh, this is what we were talking about before. I don't even know though. See, like, the way that lightweights are, you can't do Puff Puff off of most things. I don't think it works off of ID Geki most of the time. Yeah, they're like too high. I don't think it works off a throw, but I don't know if I even know the throw combo from Ilya. No. You can do it on Eno and Jacko. Yeah, there's all kinds of like... But... Whoa! Okay. Yeah, that's the juice! So off of IEDDP, I think are the most consistent PKs into Puff Puff, which is why, especially against lights, I tend to take DP quite a bit to use as a mix-up. So you can do something like, you can do something like on Wake Up, you meaty 5k close S, and then IEDDP. And if you see that actually crossed over, and do these, and then one of these, and then whatever else. They don't work off a throw, they don't work if I don't think they work off a counter hit either. What? What's even the combo for Milia? Yeah, too high. Yep, too high. Counter hit Puff doesn't work, all kinds of junk doesn't work. But IDDP is a little more consistent, so like if you really need Puff Puff on them and PK, IDDP is the way to go. On the other hand though, there's a lot of characters that like a common thing is Max Geki into Puff Puff, and this doesn't work on a lot, or I mean it works, but like at the end of a combo if you're like in, oh wait, that's right, Jacko, I'll do it on Jacko later, but what was I gonna say? So like at the very end of a combo, if the hit stun isn't high enough, or if whatever else, and you do Max Geki and try to do Puff Puff on a midweight, they'll sometimes get OTG'd by the second one. So on lights though, they tend to be a lot easier to stop whiffing. get like Max Geki, Puff Puff, and that's like 249 for nothing. For like a counter hit. She's jumping or something. How do you set the thing to jump? Yeah, so you have a Max Geki and then Millia's just jumping around because Millia's jump around a lot. Something like that for nothing. So Max Geki is a good way into Puff Puff combos and into that whole extension, which usually gives you corner carry and it gives you like 4-6 PP ender or Puff Puff into max charge ender, stuff like that. So it's a good thing to have in mind. So that's like combo theory on lights. PK doesn't work on a lot of the setups, but it works on IEDDP. And other random things like I was saying, IED, Geki, close slash, 2H, 1 hit, 4-6 PK on Jacko. On certain characters like Millie, you can do 2D, Ryujin, Max Geki, and they die. Do they? Like just raw? That's pretty funny. Oh. Come closer to the corner. Oops. Ugh. Ugh. Oh yeah, that's true. You can always like combo into the Geki somehow. But yeah, Max Geki against. That's why I tend to say against lights, Max Geki is actually pretty OD. It gives you back some of those extensions that you miss with lights because you can't do PK Puff Puff into them. But if you do like PK into, let's say we have just a regular PK combo and then all this other junk, and then you do this, and then bah, and then I deleted a little too much, but oh, that's too much. Hits and deteriorates. But that's kind of like how Max Geki brings them back down. You can get Puff Puff and stuff like that on them. So it gives you back some of those routes into Puff Puff and those knockdowns because they don't tend to work off of PK on lights. So that's why I think Max Geki is usually pretty solid against lights. There's other reasons to take other cards, like wanting Ryujin to poke out of certain things and stuff like that, but Max Geki for combo utility is pretty solid, not just on lights too, but also on midweights and other characters. So the other thing that somebody was asking, I guess that kind of like, that's all I really wanted to say about combo complexity. It's just, I guess, to reiterate, you can start out with simple things and like work your way up, but eventually you want to start utilizing some tools like learning how to confirm PK, which I'll talk about probably a little later, and stuff like 2D. Why do I keep doing that? 2D 236 SK is really good because 2D is like one of our longest reaching normals, besides like 6H and other stuff. But pretty much at any range that 2D works, 2D 236 SK works. At any range that 2D 236 SK works, 2D 236 SK Ryujin works. Excuse me. So what 2D 236 SK does is a character dependent. I thought 2D 236 SK works on like everybody. Chip doesn't work. Back max range. Okay. It's, I think, a lot more consistent than 2D 23K or 2D whatever. I think you can TK it and stuff like that. All I mean to say is that 2D 236 SK is an important tool because it's very consistent across the cast. You'll see me kind of tend to deviate or like go towards those combos a lot more. Because, you know, you have max regen. I mean, obviously you want to meme with max regen and throw it out at random times to get counter hits, but like, just a basic combo. Oh no, if I can do a basic combo. Oh my god. If you have regen, you can land a 2D, you can land 236 SK, you can land a max, and then suddenly you RC and do a bajillion damage. But that's a combo complexity thing. You start utilizing more of those tools, or as it's been dubbed, though I don't really like it, doing unnecessary IEDDPs and combos is like a sweetxjam thing apparently. I don't even know what it, oh, okay, I know. If I can do it. Something like that. The more like different tools you use, the more like combo utility you have, and you can start doing crazy things like, you know, oh, it doesn't work until you're in the corner, but with stuff like that, you get more combo utility and you learn more tools. It takes everything like 2D236 SK, IEDDP, all this other stuff takes more time to grind out, but it gives you more options. You can use more variations to get whatever knockdown you want or do more damage. And some of like the highest damage comes from doing some of those things that are a lot more complex or take a lot more time. The sway is regen, RC, J2K, Puff Puff with Puff Puff. Like charge regen or regular or max or regular. Does it work off a regular regen? How do you even? If you do like charge. Oh, that's kind of sick. That's so sick. I like that a lot. One charge? Yeah. That's kind of a sick combo. Oh, and then there's like the combo I stole from Rob Madhum, if you've ever heard of him. It's a strong RAM player from Indiana who also moonlights as a jam player. I think he was the one who did something like this. It was like counter hit puff, like 6H. Oh god, I can't even. Come on. You do like that super slick, like 6H regen instant air backdash into puff, which I think is so cool. Like, it's not all that complex or crazy or anything, but like stylistically, it's just such a cool combo to do. And I'm sure it gives you like openings into other routes. But yeah, the more you start to kind of optimize your routes and learn about other things, the more you'll get different tools to mess with. So grinding out some of those things is actually pretty important. IED is super good. That's kind of a thing that you need to lab a little bit. But then you get like PK and puff puffs and stuff. So like I said before, start out with the basic stuff. There's no shame in doing a combo into 2D into charge a billion times if it works. But eventually you'll start to use PK more and use other stuff more, and your damage will go up and you'll start killing people, and that's what Jam's really good at doing. She has like Slayer damage when you have resources and cards and stuff. No, there's no way. Oh, on stream? Yeah, I could... Okay, let me change that real quick. Is Rev 2 even... Is there a different thing for Rev 2? Oh, shit. Nice. Good catch. Thank you. Update... Okay. Sick. Yep, this is Rev 2. You can tell because she has the second puffball, which basically gives her disgusting damage and stick knockdowns and all this other great stuff. It makes, I think, her kit and her combos a lot more consistent and like unified, whereas before you like didn't have this option out of doing PK, so like PK was the best damage, but you had to have a card to do it. You kind of like had to, as Amma puts it, put gas in the engine and charge a card before you could do any of those confirms and keep getting damage and knockdowns, because the kicks by themselves don't cause knockdown. So this had been asked by somebody, I can't remember who it was in the Discord, but they wanted to know about ground to air and air to air confirms. That's actually something I was doing a little bit earlier with that Geki combo, where I'm gonna deal first with air to air because it's a little easier to kind of set up, and then eventually I'll try to do like ground to air. So you have a jumping opponent and you anti-air them one way or another, in this case air to air, so you have either JS or JH. In a lot of cases I feel like those are like the two strongest buttons. I'm not going to talk too much about JK and JP because I think, you know, if you anti-air somebody with either of those buttons, the only thing that happens is you tend to move towards just like a regular knockdown by doing like anything as simple as like, you know, whatever else it is. Do like anti-air JP or JK rather, and then you just Gatling into like whatever you want to use to set up the combo. People tend to have like different stuff that they gravitate towards, but for the main ones, JS and JH, when you get a counter hit JS, there's actually like quite a bit of untech. It's like they're all the way down here. You can get all kinds of different stuff. There's a good amount of untech, and you can actually land and like re-jump as a combo. They're all the way up here. It's a little harder. Get up there. But the safest thing probably is just to like keep a Geki card on you, because if you have a Geki card on you, these knockdowns these will always give you a knockdown off of just like straight hits, which is super nice, especially when at the beginning you're working on just trying to get knockdowns into basic mediocre. So you get like a JS, and then you confirm it. You see like, oh, I got counter hit JS, they're coming down. Then you can do something as simple as, you know, re-jump JS, JH, just so, especially on lights because it's finicky, just so you get a consistent DP into axe kick knockdown. You know, let's say you have regen, what could you do? I guess you could like, and then you at least get the knockdown. Just trying to like combo into whatever card you have if you choose to take the knockdown is important. With JS, there's like a lot of hit stun, which is why, or it's a lot of like untech on counter hit, which is super nice. It's the same thing with JH actually. JH has so much untech on counter hit that when you see either of these buttons, it kind of depends on where you are. Sometimes if you're like really high, you can do, I think, like JH, recover, JS. I black beated. Yeah, something like that. And oh my god, even the Geki hit. So it's a little tougher timing wise, but like if you get a counter hit JH, sometimes your best bet is to just like hope you were, you know, at the beginning of like a rising JH when you got it, and try to just JS after when it recovers, and try to like re-jump combo or do like a DP. Let's see if that works. yeah, it's kind of that's something that's a little more difficult. But oh, I mean, you can always just I have a Geki, I got a counter hit JH, and then you have a knockdown. Even if you don't have a card, just give yourself a little bit more damage that way, and you know, hopefully you have a Geki and you can get a knockdown. If not, you get like, what is that? 93, 42. So you get like 50 extra damage just from doing 51 extra damage just from doing an extra DP and a Gekiden. But then sometimes you get funky hit. Oop, did not mean to air throw her. Get like all kinds of funky hits. That's another thing I guess about combo complexity and confirms is recognizing jams do, you know, IDJH and things like that fairly often, and eventually you just kind of get used to seeing like, okay, it's IDJH counter hit. Now I can land and do whatever else. So that's for air to air, because those tend to be your two air to air normals, it's JS and JH. There's different things for each of them where you get different confirms, and I tend to go for on counter hit JS on most characters. I tend to go for like JS into rejump confirms, stuff like that. Thanks for stopping in, Danky. Or Super Default now. Just recognize what normal you hit and how much untech it has, how it tends to send them up, and you kind of just have to adjust for, in the same way that every time I've hit Milia so far, a different thing has happened, like in terms of trajectory or the height that she's at. You kind of just have to get used to dealing with different angles and different heights and stuff like that. Oh, if you get one like this low, you can even get something real dumb like probably PK confirm off of it. I should probably try drilling here. Yeah, nice. Something like that. So that's kind of like the ground to air type thing though. When they're real low and you're on the ground and you're like, I'm gonna kill this man, I'm already on the ground, and he's low enough and got counter hit low enough that I can just go for a ground confirm. Yeah, too high. I guess in this case it's more about using anti-airs. Common anti-airs include, besides JS and JH, which we tend to plug the most, 6P is a real solid anti-air, especially since it got buffed in Rev 2. So, you know, you're not always going to have them jumping like straight up and down at you. You know, sometimes they're going to be IEDing. In that case, it's a little different. But for now, like, assuming, you know, in the most general sense, you have like a 6P, you can get different things off of it. When you're more comfortable with PK and how to juggle into PK, you can get PK combos even off of it. But for like a very, very basic confirm, you can do something like 6P, get in the air. Something very, very basic. In this case, going ground to air, the most important thing to remember is what's jump cancelable. 2D's jump cancelable, 6P's jump cancelable, close S, far S, both jump cancelable. 6K is jump cancelable as well. So every once in a while I'll be trying to do 5K and my opponent jumps out and I get a 6K and I'm like, oh, alright. Get a free confirm. And there's all kinds of ways to confirm into it. You see all jams do all kinds of different stuff in terms of air confirms. Some people like JK more, some people like JS more. The very, very basic one is just, you know, JS into JS or something into JS, JH into DP and stuff. And that's like the easiest way to go about it. But you know, you get a 6P and you either get, I think, is 6P jump cancelable? No, it's not. 6P isn't jump cancelable, but 6P can Gatling into close S and other things which are. So like, what I tend to do when I get 6P is like counter hit 6P, and the Geki can whiff, that's okay. It's not that much more damage, and unless you're looking for the knockdown from a card, it doesn't really matter too much. But that's like a very, very basic anti-air combo. And then you get more complex. That was a bad PK. As you get more comfortable with heights and juggling, you can always work up into other things. But you know, something like 6P, close S into whatever combo. I guess you could even do like JD, something like that. So that's like a ground to air confirm. Another thing to note, I guess, is that like 2H actually has a very big hitbox in terms of like where it'll hit, and it hits like fairly high up. So a lot of the times I'll go for some kind of anti-air thing, and even if you know the second hit's gonna whiff, it's not too bad. You can like parry cancel it and, you know, go back to neutral or something like that. Yeah, sometimes you'll get a 4-6 PK out of it, sometimes it'll be too far. But overall, 2H is also a good button to be using, not necessarily as an anti-air, but in your confirms as you're trying to anti-air, like Gatling into it. But, you know, something like this isn't bad either. Oops. You know, basic stuff. And that goes back to combo complexity. And the more you do, the more you'll kind of get comfortable with and choose to use different confirms. I'm gonna switch to... Who should I kill? I think I want to go back to Kiz or Kai. I hope it switches to that one. Because I want to start talking about PK and like how things tend to juggle. This is something that I feel like is actually pretty important, and in the Discord with our resources, we tend to focus more on like, here's a specific setup that'll work on these characters every time. You know, this one will work on this character, and that's not bad, especially when you're just trying to learn PK confirms at first. But the thing that'll set apart, I think, really good jams is, when you think about it, there's like so many different things that can combo into PK that, in a way, it's important to learn about how your normals juggle and how to get PK while, you know, freestyling it, as I tend to say, off of just random things. So like, the funny thing I think about Kai, I know it doesn't work. There's different confirms that'll work. So like off a counter hit, I think you can do close S or something like that. Maybe not. This is the confirm that I tend to use the most. I guess the best way to explain it is just like, what normal do you use before 2H when you're doing 4-6 PK? And this changes for every character, and even within characters it changes depending on the situation. I can't do ID. In this case, it's 5k. Off of ID, you know, counter hit ID Gekiden, it's 5k. But you could also probably do it with, you can do it with 2S. Off a counter hit, it's like 5k 2S, I think. Is there another counter hit puff confirm for Kai on like to get PK? Like close S or something like that? Too far. Maybe I can do like 6P or something. Oh yeah, I think that'll work. Ah! Yeah. Something like that. And 6P is obviously a kind of a weird one, because most people don't think to use that, but 6K works, 6P works. What was the other one I was doing? Was it, I think it was 2S 5K? Oh no, it's 5K 2S. This works. So there's lots of different normals that'll do lots of different things. I wanna CS 6K? Really? Wait, what? I guess one hit? Sick! That's even better. And they're like a little lower too. Something like that. Thank you, Stumble Duck. Another one that apparently works. Close S 6K 2H1. So, all this to say, there's lots of different normals that'll work, but they won't work in every situation and for every character. Like, even within fighting one character, every confirm isn't necessarily going to work. Like that one, in that case, it's too high, I think. Oh no, I guess it does. Yeah, I tend to use this more in any case. It's kind of important, I think, to see which normals do what and spend time experimenting with using different ones, because that'll give you a much better sense of like how to juggle with them, and you'll understand a lot more, I think, intuitively what you need to be pressing to get that 4-6 PK to work. You know, like what you need to press, I mean, before 2H. So like, for midweights, some good ones just to start out with, as we were seeing before, Far Slash, I guess, I mean, not on Kai, I think it'll work on, like, I think I used Far Slash or Close Slash on Chip. Different characters have different hurt boxes as well, so you kind of have to experiment to see. But, what about, yeah. Other ones that I use on midweights more of the time are like 5K Close S, 4-6 PK with 2H1. I don't know if it'll work off of 2H2. Oops. Nah, too high. So, I mean, doing PKs, sometimes you even have to switch between using 2H1 hit and 2H2 hit. But 5K Close S is one for midweights, or Far Slash works as well, actually. Another good one is 5K 2S, which juggles, I think, a little lower. I think that won't work on Kai. That tends to be more of a lightweight confirm, but on some of the lightweights, or some of the midweights, they're like hurt boxes are different, so like 5K can work in those cases as well. 6K, I tend to use it, well, as an aside, I use 6K the most to try and catch backdash, because timed well and in like a lot of situations it'll stuff backdashes. I notice this actually the most when I play Kiz or Kai. If he's doing like a backdash in the corner, you get launched by the second hit of 6K, and the height that he's at, it actually ends up being like right up here, or like right here. So I get 2H46 PK almost for free. But as a juggle thing, it's also worth looking into. I think on Soul, 6K works on counter hit Puff in the corner. But there are some, I think, that we don't look at as much that are consistent in against certain characters. Like I think 5K Close S works on Soul. Yeah. That's why I use this confirm a lot. 5K Close S is actually real good at juggling midweights, and even Soul, who's like, his hurt box is weird because of his feet, basically. Like, he's got a weird, I can't remember exactly what it is. Is it like his feet have a really big hurt box or something like that, or it's like, it's something like that. Soul has some points where he's kind of weird to juggle. I think 6K works on him, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's 6K one hit. No, what about Soul. Will this one work? That's the one I did before. 5k close slash will work. 5k 2s will work. I wonder if 6p works. Ah! Nah, not quite. That's too high. Oops. There's lots of like different combinations of normals as well as just the normals themselves that juggle differently. Like close slash and far slash tend to be more important for midweights. On pot, I'll even do something like 5k close slash far slash off of a throw RC to get him high enough that I can do PK. But there's other like pot specific combos as well. And for like throw RC, the combo for Soul is like, I think it's 2s, yeah, 2s 5k. Which is why it's kind of confusing, because in the corner you do 5k 2s, but in off a grab you do 2s 5k. That'll do it. So for lightweights, yeah, let's just go Amelia. For lightweights, it's more important to use normals like 5k, 2k, 2s, what else? There's other ones that I can't think of at the moment, but like, on lights, 5k is super good. I think 2s will also work on Milia. Yep, 2s works. Especially for, like, it's fairly, I think, easy to memorize confirms for counter hit puff and the ones that you tend to get the most, but there'll be some times where the reason why this is important is for those situations where you get like a weird counter hit or they're in a weird spot in the air and like you don't know exactly what you're gonna try to do in terms of, you know, got a counter hit, max regen, oh, wall stuck, that'll be a sick looking combo. Wall bounce, that's pretty sick. But like in that kind of situation, I don't necessarily like. There's no section of the combo doc for like, here's what you do if you hit counter hit max regen and it wall bounces her. That's a kind of thing where you just have to be like, you know, she's this high in the air and she's gonna be in untech for this long, so I'm gonna use 2s and just like juggle her real low because she's a lightweight and it'll push her up just enough. I think 5k also works, or not 5k but 2k. Yeah, 2k works. So like for me, those are normals that I know of for juggling lightweights, and I tend to think like, okay, I use, if I'm starting a matchup where I'm fighting a character that I usually don't fight, like I don't tend to fight Mei that much, if I start trying to do PKs on her and it doesn't work, I'll go through the list of like, okay, well 5k, 2k, and 2s all work on Milia, but they might not all work on Mei that I'm trying, or maybe one will work better than all the others. Because I think the main difference between all these ones is the amount of delay before you hit 4-6p. You can actually make some of these even not work by hitting 4-6p too late or too early like that. But in that case, I did it like fairly... That's kind of like a visual thing, I feel like, that you get used to more with the timing of 4-6pk. But the more that you experiment with different normals and the more you use different ones, the more you'll have to worry about doing like visual confirmation of where they are so that you can time the 4-6p correctly, which in my opinion is probably easier than memorizing a whole bunch of normals or having specific setups, because it also makes your combo ability more flexible. Yo, that was super weird. Did the first hit whiff on that one? I'm looking back at the footage. Yeah, I think that was a first hit whiff, second hit 6k into PK. There's all kinds of crazy stuff, but that's me shilling for learning how to freestyle PK combos and kind of how to start going about doing that. So that's combo complexity, PK combos and that kind of stuff in B&B. Is there anything else in terms of combos? Nothing I can think of unless anybody has like specific stuff they want to hear about. But if not, I'm going to move on to the next thing I was going to talk about, which is normals and their uses. So Jam's got a whole bunch of good normals.